We're counting down the 5 most overrated Scotch whiskies you should absolutely skip, and revealing 3 hidden gems that put big brands to shame. From supermarket blends that waste your money to luxury bottles that rest on a name alone, our rankings dig deep into the difference between flashy marketing and real flavor integrity. Which whiskeys are all style and no substance, and which bottles truly respect your palate. Let's break it down, starting with number 8. Chivas Regal 12-year sits on every supermarket shelf, wrapped in gold and promising sophistication. What you actually get is a blend that is all smooth surface and no real depth. Boring. For $35, Chivas 12 delivers a grainy metallic profile with barely enough character to stand out in a crowded mixer. It is not offensive, but it is not memorable either. Just a bland, watery dram that disappears before you can even decide if you like it. Meanwhile, for the same price, you could pick up Monkey Shoulder, a blended malt that brings twice the flavor and a real sense of malt complexity. Chivas 12 is the safe choice for people who think smoothness equals quality. Don't fall for the box. Your palate deserves more. The Dalmore 12-year stands out on the shelf with its deep mahogany color and that flashy silver stag glued to the glass. It looks like a rich, decadent whiskey until you check the fine print. Dalmore openly admits to using E150A caramel coloring to achieve that signature hue. The color is not from years in sherry casks. It is cosmetic, designed to trick your eyes before the liquid even hits your tongue. Underneath the drama, Dalmore 12-year is bottled at just 40% ABV, and it is chill filtered, leaving the palate thinner and lighter than the bottle promises. You are paying for the packaging and the illusion, not for substance in the glass. At this price, you deserve more than a color trick and a designer bottle. Glenlivet Founders Reserve launched in 2015 as a replacement for the classic 12-year, and the backlash was immediate. Loyal drinkers noticed the age statement was gone, replaced by a vague promise of heritage and a bottle that looked just familiar enough to pass. What actually landed on shelves was a whiskey designed to stretch aging stocks, bottled at the bare minimum 40% alcohol by volume, chill filtered, and colored for a consistent supermarket gold. The real giveaway is in the glass. Sharp pear drop sweetness, a raw ethanol bite, and a finish that vanishes before you can blink. Fans took to Reddit and whiskey forums, launching petitions and venting about the loss of the 12-year. US sales dropped by around 20% within a year. Pernod Ricard eventually brought the 12-year back to some markets, but Founders Reserve never left. This is what happens when a proven classic gets swapped for a rushed, unfinished, no-age statement expression without even giving you a price break. Macallan 12. Double cask is the textbook example of paying for a name, not the whiskey in your glass. Bottled at just 40% alcohol by volume, it leans on a sherry-driven profile that is pleasant enough, but nothing you cannot find for half the price elsewhere. The real story is the price tag. It sells for $80 to $100 on most shelves, sometimes even more. That is not because the liquid costs more to make. Industry estimates put production costs for a 12-year-old Speyside single malt at around 11 pounds to 22 pounds a bottle. The rest is pure brand tax, inflated by years of auction hype and luxury marketing. Macallan's parent company, Edrington, has built a reputation for turning ordinary releases into must-have status symbols, especially in Asia where collectors treat bottles like blue-chip stocks. The whiskey itself is fine, but at this price you are mostly paying for the label and the aura, not for any leap in flavor or craftsmanship. That is the Rolex tax. All prestige, little payoff. Johnnie Walker Blue Label is the bottle that sits behind glass, daring you to spend $200 for the privilege of saying you own it. Every inch of the branding screams luxury, deep blue box, gold accents, a name whispered at boardroom parties. But under the surface, you are getting a whiskey engineered to offend no one and excite even fewer. Blue Label is bottled at the legal minimum, 40% ABV. It is chill filtered, and it is colored for that perfect amber glow. The result is a blend so smooth and neutral, it could pass for flavored water in a blind tasting. Diageo sells over 1 million cases a year, not because the whiskey inside is remarkable, but because the box makes a statement. For the price of one blue label, you could buy 4 bottles of single malt with actual flavor and integrity. The biggest scam in Scotch is not bad whiskey. It is convincing people that smooth is worth $200 a pour. Loch Lomond, 12. Year is what happens when a distillery decides to outsmart the big brands instead of outspend them. Sitting quietly on the lower shelves, it is the bottle most people overlook until they actually taste it. Here is the secret. Loch Lomond owns some of the most versatile stills in Scotland, including unique straight neck designs that let them create a whole range of spirit styles under one roof. That means more flavors, more complexity, and far more value for your dollar. At 46% alcohol by volume, non-chill filtered, and typically natural in color, this is a whiskey built for drinkers, not for gift boxes. The flavor profile jumps out with orchard fruit, honey, and just a wisp of peat smoke, enough to keep things interesting without overwhelming the palate. In 2019, Loch Lomond 12 took home gold at the International Wine and Spirit Competition, beating out bottles twice its price. Yet you will still find it for $35 to $45. If you want a bottle that delivers honest complexity without the marketing premium, this is where the smart money goes. Bunnahabhain. 12-year doesn't just tick the right boxes, it sets the standard for what honest Scotch should be. Bottled at 46.3% alcohol by volume, it holds onto every ounce of flavor and texture that lesser bottles strip away. Forget chill filtration. Bunnahabhain leaves the natural oils and fatty acids right where they belong, giving the whiskey a creamy, almost waxy mouthfeel that clings to the palate. There is no caramel coloring here either. The rich amber hue comes straight from real sherry cask maturation, not from a chemistry set. What you taste is pure Islay, dried fruits, roasted nuts, a touch of sea spray, and a backbone of rich malt. For around $50 to $60, this bottle delivers a depth and luxury of texture that puts so-called prestige malts to shame. The finish lingers with a gentle salinity and sweet spice, proof that integrity specs are not marketing. They are the secret to a whiskey that feels twice as expensive as it is. Bunnahabhain 12 is what happens when a distillery cares more about the liquid than the label. Arran 10-year-old is the bottle that turns everything you thought you knew about budget Scotch on its head. Founded in 1995 on the windswept Isle of Arran, this distillery was laughed off by the old guard. Too new, too ambitious, too far from the Speyside Club. But Arran doubled down on quality, not shortcuts. From the start, they bottled at 46% alcohol by volume, left the color alone, and refused to run their whiskey through chill filtration. The result is a single malt that explodes with honest flavor, bright lemon zest, creamy vanilla, and a toasty malt biscuit backbone. It's the taste of fresh air and pure water, not a committee meeting about market trends. Arran 10-year-old has racked up more than 50 gold medals around the world, including a 95-point score at the Ultimate Spirits Challenge. That is not marketing fluff. It is the tasting panel putting it on par with bottles twice the price. For $45 to $55, you get a whiskey that is vibrant, modern, and full of character, not a bottle that trades on nostalgia or a fancy box. There is no need for caramel coloring or a celebrity endorsement. Just real whiskey, made with integrity, that drinks like a celebration every single time. If you want a daily dram that actually rewards your attention, something you can pour for a friend and feel proud of, Arran 10-year-old is it. This is the new benchmark for what entry-level single malt can be. Skip the status symbols and buy the bottle that delivers pure flavor, honest specs, and a sense of discovery in every pour. Across all 8 bottles, one truth stands out. Real Scotch quality hides in the specs, not the status. When marketing drives price, substance gets lost. The Holy Trinity is 46% alcohol by volume, natural color, and no chill filtration. It remains the drinker's only defense. Don't buy the label. Read it.